Hi, I'm Wendy. I used to be the youth minister at Church of the Annunciation, and I wanted to share a little bit about my friend Noel, hopefully without crying. We'll see. My heart is so sad to lose my dear friend. I loved his cackle. I loved his pragmatic and sometimes borderline crass way of talking to people in order to get to the heart of things. I met him when I first moved to New Orleans to be a youth minister. He was gruff and sort of territorial and had a basement at the church full of useful things and supplies that he did not want people to know about, and I was nosy. I set about trying to win him over with gifts like a train calendar and weird tools from a hardware store here in California, which is where I'm from. It worked. Part of my task when I started at the church was to get the Sunday school classrooms all cleaned out and fresh for the kids, so luckily our paths crossed a lot. In many ways, he was like a second dad to me when I was in New Orleans. One time, when Tyrone and Mary Sarton and I were painting in the chapel, we gouged a wall. I don't remember why, but we thought we were very clever and we spackled it so that Noel would not see. But he did. He came in to check on us and immediately went to where our handiwork was and glared at it. He then turned and gave us a gruff, sighing growl of disappointment. But then he taught me how to repair it correctly. Noel was always teaching me things. Noel taught me how to paint walls, and when we worked on the children's chapel renovation, he taught me how to sponge paint and texture all of the gold parts that went around the ceiling. I drove him nuts because I was constantly damaging the walls in the classrooms by hanging things up like shelves and television mounts and posters, and I would mess up the plaster. So he may have begun teaching me simply out of self-preservation for his nerves, but either way, I was very grateful. I admired the way at the church pre-Katrina, if we had anyone come by during the week asking for money, Noel would invite them to come back on Saturdays and earn some by doing work for him. If they came back, he put them to work. He scaled the task depending upon their ability or coherence. But he told me one time that as long as they could stay standing and hold a rake, he felt that they had done their part. If they were more sober, then he really used them to help him with whatever projects were afoot. And at the end of the day, he paid them. His crass, gruff way of talking worked well with these guys. I cannot count the number of times that sweet man came to my rescue. For whatever reason, I had a lot of car batteries and calamity. He would always come either to give me a jump start or show me how to clean the corrosion off of the contacts for the battery with Pepsi. For all other car-related calamity, he would happily come be my stand-in guy at the mechanic shops so that I wouldn't get scammed. He would advise me at all hours of the night about weird apartment bugs. He went to dinner with me when I was alone on my birthday. He let me pick the restaurant and he did not like it, but he still went. He tried to give me fashion advice. In later years, he would offer me so much wisdom about caring for my mom and building my art business and more. When my time in New Orleans was over, Noel even helped supervise me having guys move my stuff into a truck, and then he and Robert Perry drove it all back to California for me. He even hid my little geranium that I've been growing in my New Orleans apartment bathroom in the middle of the truck and smuggled it into California for me. I still have the geranium. It's doing very well here. Noel was involved in reviewing my now husband, Damon. When Damon and I were dating, Damon lived in Baton Rouge. So on one of my trips back to Louisiana, I took him down to meet Noel and see if he met with Noel's approval. Noel loved it. We had a secret meeting at a restaurant down in the quarter, and he loved the clandestine nature of it. Also, Noel did approve of Damon. And Noel and Robert came back to California for my wedding. Noel is the godfather to our daughter Athena. He is one of the most beautiful and kind-hearted men I have ever met. My life is 1,000,000,000 times better for having met Noel and for counting him as my friend. I'm so sad that his time here is over. But I rejoice that he has a new life with no pain with God our Father. Thank you.